I'd like to welcome all of you, ladies and gentlemen, to the Burke County Board of Commissioners pre-agenda meeting for Tuesday, September 6th at 3 p.m. I would remind everybody that out in the audience to please silence your mobile devices, and if you come to the lectern to speak, please activate the microphone before speaking. Madam Clerk, we have all 5 commissioners in attendance, along with our county finance officer, our county attorney, and our county manager. Gentlemen, you've had a chance to look at the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Abley. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. That is 5-0, Madam Clerk. Moving on to item number 3, presentations. Item number 1, GFOA, Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. This will be presented by Brian Steen, our county manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I hope you're getting used to having good news. We were tickled to death that we can come to you today. Of course, Margaret is the one with more of the specifics of this award, so if it's all right with the board, I'll let her go into what all it took. And I understand that it becomes increasingly more difficult each year to be able to win this award, so good job.
Hey, Margaret.
Good afternoon. We've asked the whole department to come because it takes all of us. It takes a village to raise a child, and that's the way we feel about that audit report each year. The 120 pages, each one's a little bit of blood, sweat, and tears from everybody. So if you don't mind, I'll ask them all to come up right now.
Please do.
That means you. They knew they had to come. They didn't know they had to get up. So, you know Brian Neath, he is our senior fiscal analyst handling our account, American Rescue Plan. Pat Lunsford is our payroll specialist and the favorite person in our lives every other week. Jessica Helms is our senior support specialist, and she's our right hand for about everything. Scott Cook is our deputy finance director. Kat Wright is our accounting specialist, handles our purchase cards and all kinds of things for us. And Sarah pays all the bills. Sarah Krause, she's our senior accounting specialist that writes all the checks for the county. It's about $1,000 a month she handles. So wow. We appreciate everyone. And Jessica Whiteside is on vacation, our other senior accounting specialist. So I have a couple of awards here that I'd like to hand out since they won't be at the night meeting. This one is for the whole finance department from the Government Finance Officers Association, Award of Financial Reporting Achievement. And it is to the entire department for all the work they do. So I'm going to ask Sarah and Kat, they can hold that. This one is to the county itself, to the commissioners and everyone, because again, it takes all the departments, it takes everyone to make this happen. Once upon a time, our auditors could write our report. They're not allowed to anymore, which is fine. So we do that in-house. This one is for Jessica, because without her, these reports would not come out. Thank you. And this one is for Scott, because without him and the work he does supporting and writing certain parts of what we call the schedule of expenditures of federal and state awards, the CFSA, that one's a little bit tricky, and he does a good piece of that one for us. And just want to make sure that they understand how much they're appreciated. Pat does compensated absences, Brian does fixed assets. We all have a piece in this puzzle. So thank you to them, from me, and I think from you guys.
Absolutely. Let's please give them a round of applause.
Come on around. Here you go.
Margaret, you get Pat to take and give us a little raise in our checks?
Yes.
She writes those checks. Can you raise a little bit
He said we can add something to his check next time.
to our checks?
No problem. Not if everybody knows it. No problem. Sure, give everybody something you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I was late.
All right. Everybody ready? Thank you. Thank you all.
But tickle pink to write those checks that are due.
I'm on my way to get y'all paid.
No, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, I want to thank y'all for what a great achievement and your hard work. So once again, thank you and congratulations. That's fantastic. Thank you, Margaret. Gentlemen, any other comments? All right, without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. Item number 2, Pet of the Month. I don't see Caitlin here, so it must be Kay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm just substituting for the great Caitlin Settlemeyer. Animal Services will be here at the regular meeting to feature a cat and dog in need of its forever home at the regular meeting.
Thank you, Kay. Any comments, questions?
Has it slowed down any? About the amount of dogs and cats coming in?
I think operating in that triage mode has helped a little bit, but there's still, we took in, I think, 17 dogs from a seizure type situation last week. So, you know, when you have 16 dog kennels and you take in additional 17, right off the bat, yeah. But they needed to come in, and so they're being taken care of.
The regional, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, the regional newscast stations around Charlotte, Greensburg, has had 4 or 5 different animal shelters that they targeted and told how much overcrowdedness they have, so.
Yes,
It's a problem everywhere.
it's not a situation that is unique to Burke County.
Thank you, Kay. Well, gentlemen, without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. Move on to item number 3, Community Development Presentation for Staff Recognition for Zoning Official of the Year, presented by our Deputy County Manager, Planning Director, Alan Glines. Alan, how are you today?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, members of the public. We're glad to bring to you a award for Bradley Kirkley. He's the zoning administrator for Burke County. He serves many capacities in our department. And included in that is shoreline permits, questions related to development. Many times he's also working on code enforcement complaints countywide. And at this year's North Carolina Association of Zoning Officials, Bradley was awarded the Zoning Official of the Year. So he was quite surprised at his award, and it was at the luncheon, and he didn't see it coming and was kind of chatting with a neighbor, and next thing you know, his name's called, so it was a complete surprise. It's a way to do it. He'll be at our meeting next, our formal meeting, but we were just proud to recognize that for him and his hard work to Burke County citizens.
Fantastic news again. Great.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, comments, questions? Absolutely, Alan, thank you. Without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. Item number 4, reason, introduction of new president and public awareness campaign. This will be a placeholder presented by Kay Drone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Reason has a new president, and Reason is Reduce Euthanasia and Spay or Neuter. That is Miss Erin Kaiser. She will be here along with Reason board member Jeff Morris to give a brief report on some accomplishments they have undertaken and some services that they offer, kind of to raise public awareness that there are funds out there to help people that qualify to spay or neuter their pet. And they'll be here at the regular meeting.
Wonderful. Gentlemen, questions, comments? If not, without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. Oh, since you're up there already, yes. National Disability, item number 5, National Disability Employment Awareness Month, presented by Kay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This time I'm substituting for Janet Hanna, Business Relations Representative with the North Carolina Division of Vocational Rehabilitation Services. October is National Disability Awareness Month, and they will be here at the regular meeting to ask you to approve a proclamation that's the theme is disability, part of the equity equation. That sample proclamation is not available on the state's website yet, so that will be forthcoming, but basically it's a proclamation recognizing disability awareness.
Thank you, Kay. Gentlemen, questions, comments? Without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. Thank you, Kay. That'll bring us to item number 4, scheduled public hearings, Tax Department, presentation of 2023 schedule of value, use schedule of value and public hearing. This is presented by John Bridgers, our tax administrator. John, how are you, sir?
Doing well, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. We've got a presentation here for our schedule of values for the 2023 revaluation. I found this picture of the courthouse, this old picture of the courthouse when I was in Chapel Hill, and I thought it would be interesting to include this picture. But anyway, moving right along. So revaluation, what is it we're doing and why do we do it? We do it because the statutes say so. 105-286 says time for reappraisal, and that every county in the state has to do it at least once every 8 years. And the statute also allows counties, with the option of the Board of Commissioners, to advance that if they so desire. North Carolina Department of Revenue recommends that all counties go to a 4-year schedule to do their revaluations. Burke County has opted to go to the 4-year schedule. The last time we did a 4-year countywide revaluation was in 2019, so 2023 is the next scheduled reappraisal. So under North Carolina Constitution, under Article 5, Finance, under Section 2, State and Local Taxation, number 1 says the power of taxation shall be done in a fair and equitable manner. So we do it to be fair and equitable. That's why we do the revaluation. So it's not about raising somebody's taxes, even though people think we're just out to screw them. We're really not. It's about ensuring that the tax burden is fairly and equitably balanced across the county for all the county property owners. So since 2019, property values in Burke County have gone up. Because of inflation, the overall economy, just about every property in the county has increased in value. Just as the price of automobiles, groceries, gasoline, everything else you go out and buy has gone up, so has real estate. While some properties have had a significant increase in value, other properties may have had a more moderate increase. So if you look at an example of 2 homes, and these are real homes, now they're not in Burke County, but the same would go for. In 2019, the value of home A was $206,000. The value of home B was $203,000. Using the tax rate for Burke County, the taxes on each of those homes would have been pretty much the same. And the percent of value that they're returning back to the county would just happen to be the tax rate. The 2022 value on both these homes was $278,000 and $419,000. So using the same tax rate that Burke County uses, and because the tax rate has not changed, the taxes would be the same for both those pieces of property. But the percent of value changes because the percent of value on home A is paying is much higher than the percent on home B. So the overall percentage that somebody's paying in taxes, their burden depends on what the value is, and of course the tax rate. So under the Uniform Schedule Appraisal Standards that's in the statute 105-283, all property, real and personal, must be appraised at its true value in money. When used in this subchapter, the statute says that is interpreted as meaning the market value. So what this means is that we have to value all real and personal property at 100% of its market value. Some states will go 80% value or 50% value, 75% value, but North Carolina is 100% of its market value. So market value is the price estimated in real money, and that's in terms between a willing seller and a willing buyer. And that's also known as arm's length transaction. So estimates of market value are established by an appraisal. There are fee appraisals and there are mass appraisals. The difference between them is a fee appraisal is a very in-depth appraisal or examination of what that property is. A mass appraisal is a very general appraisal or estimation of value on what that property is. In a fee appraisal, appraisers have complete access to the entire property. In a mass appraisal, the appraisers do not. They only have limited access if they have access at all. A fee appraisal compares the property with several specific comparable properties, whereas in a mass appraisal, we use neighborhoods or market areas to compare similar homes or businesses or whatever it is we're looking at. A fee appraisal is usually done when someone wants to get a loan for a construction loan or improvement or something like that, and a mass appraisal is done by the county to reevaluate the entire county. A fee appraisal will run anywhere from $250 to $400 per parcel. A fee appraisal, a mass appraisal, you're looking at $30 to $50, $60 a parcel. The county could do a fee appraisal on all the parcels in the county, but in Burke County, that would run close to $21 million just to do that fee appraisal. So to determine the value of two identical homes, if one on the left is built with paved streets, street lights, curbs and gutters, water and sewer, and the one on the right is built on a dirt road or gravel road, no street lights, no curbs, no sidewalks, and no water and sewer, which home would sell for the most money? Even though the cost of building the two homes is going to be pretty much identical. The one with the amenities is going to sell for more. But if you got two other identical homes and one adjoins a livestock facility, it's built next to Interstate 40, there's no sidewalks, no curbs, no gutters, no sidewalks, no water and sewer, and the other one adjoins the National Forest, it's on a country lane or SR road, there's no street lights, no curbs, sidewalks, no water and sewer. But because one property may have nicer amenities than another does not necessarily mean that that's going to have a higher assessed value. It just depends on what the market is doing. So generally, when you've got a neighborhood of a number of houses that are all built about the same time, they're all about the same size, they're all about the same quality, and a number of those homes in that neighborhood sell, if they're selling for all about the same price, then you can say, well, those homes that didn't sell are going to be about what those homes that did sell, be about the same value. So the difficulty comes in when you don't have many sales or there's a big diversity of homes in a particular neighborhood. Fortunately, in the past 2 years over Burke County, there's been a good number of sales that we can use to determine the values for the property here in Burke County. Having those many sales allows the county to set those values with a greater assurance of being accurate on what those homes that haven't sold would be worth. So in preparation for the 2023 revaluation, we found that the overall increase in property in Burke County is 38%. Land values have increased 19%, and building values have increased 46%. So here's an example of some sales going all the way back to 2018 for Burke County. And looking just at the single-family residence, you can see in this section that as we've gone through time, the market has gotten hotter. Up from January of 2008 through 2015, the market fluctuated, but it was pretty much the same. Since 2016, the market took off and hasn't looked back yet until just July of 2022, when it just came down a little bit. So just how does the county determine a tax rate? Well, the first thing the board does is they look at the needs of the county, the expenses they want to, where they want to spend money, the schools, administration, sheriff's department, health department, all these other departments. And then they look at all estimated income they're going to get from all sources: sales tax, occupancy tax, register deeds, fees, all these different incomes that they anticipate. And then they take the needed expenses and subtract out those estimated income, and that's equal to pot, what I call the pot. And the pot's what's needed to be filled by property taxes. Then the county looks at the sum value of all taxable property. That's going to be land, personal property, which is mobile homes, boats, automobiles, airplanes, that kind of stuff, and business personal property. Then they take the pot, divide that by the sum value of all that property, and that comes up with the tax rate. If the board thinks that that resultant tax rate is too high, then they can start whittling down on those needed expenses. So, Mr. Fred Pearson and Mr. Emmett Curl is here with me today from Pearson's Appraisal to answer any more specific questions you might have and explain exactly how we've gone about with adopting the schedule of values and setting the values for the real estate. And that concludes my presentation. Do you gentlemen have any questions?
Gentlemen, you've heard the presentation. Any questions for John?
Mr. Chairman, I did have John an excellent report and presentation, but the one question I had, for those who are on the high end of the fire tax, how do you deal with the special taxes or extra taxes like a fire tax?
Well, I didn't consider that in my presentation because those are all different rates across the county. And those fire tax rates are pretty much set by you guys and whatever the budget needs of that particular fire department. I don't know if that's answering your question, but
Well, according to the law, you have to give a zero increase or a new
revenue neutral.
Yeah, and I'm assuming, that's a bad word sometimes, I'm assuming you have to do the same for the fire tax.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Gentlemen, other questions? I think you did a really good job, John. No questions.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Thanks for all the hard work. Well, gentlemen, without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. We'll move on to section 5, consent agenda. Resolution in support of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Okay, I'm going to hand this one over to you, please. Catch you off guard.
Not a problem, Mr. Chairman. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and this proclamation is on your agenda to declare Breast Cancer Awareness Month and encourage everybody, but particularly women, to get those annual mammograms and do those self-exams and take care of themselves.
All right, gentlemen, any questions, comments? And without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Item number 2, this will be reappointments to Burke County Planning Board. This will be presented by Kay as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is a request to reappoint Michael Colterra to seat number 2 representing the East, and Dorian Palmer, seat number 5 at large, on the Burke County Planning Board for 3-year terms ending September 30th, 2025.
Gentlemen, questions, comments? And without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. We'll move on to item number 3, Kay, reappointment to WPRTA.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is a request to reappoint Brian Steen, our county manager, and Alan Glines, our deputy county manager planning director, as the alternate member to the Western Piedmont Regional Transportation Authority to complete the remainder of 3-year terms ending June 30th, 2025.
Gentlemen, questions, comments? Without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. We'll move on to appointment of review officer for Morganton and Roadhis. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Western Piedmont Council of Governments Director of Community and Regional Planning, which is Allison Adams, requests the designation of Teresa Kinney as the review officer for the Burke County portion of the town of Roadhis. And also, the city of Morganton has requested that you all appoint Wade Griffin as the new review officer for the city in the place instead of Jesse James. And a resolution is required to make those designations to the plat review officers.
Thank you, Kay. Questions, comments? There being none, without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. Okay, thank you. That brings us to item number 5 under the consent agenda, community development funding for sewer repairs at Indian Hills. This will be presented by Alan Glines.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Me being here represents a team effort with Mark Delahan, General Services Director, Margaret Pierce, Finance Director, and Jessica Whitesides, Grant Writer, to have a resolution that will anticipate a grant that we will be applying for through North Carolina Environmental Quality, and this would be to direct funds to make improvements and repairs at Indian Hills, which is our major pump station for the sewer system. And if we're successful, we'll have more material and other information to bring to you, but for now, this is going to get us started on a grant application.
Perfect. I'm excited. That'd be wonderful if we could get that, Alan.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, any questions, comments on this item?
Mr. Chairman, a couple. Alan, my blood just got heated up a little bit when I read this yesterday.
Okay.
And didn't we just approve, was it 2.3 million work on that Indian Hill project?
Well, I believe it did come to a board meeting, and as far as I know, that was to consider ARPA funds, and I don't know if there was ever a budget amendment brought forward for that. So this is hopefully going to replace that as that item to get those funds in place. So others might be able to answer that question in a little more detail, but that's my understanding of the situation.
Mr. Chairman, Wayne, Brian, even Kay, help me out a little bit. Are we not getting close to $25 million on that project over the last 30 years, 20 years?
I don't know the amount of money, but we sure had our share of problems with that system down there,
But I
which
mean,
makes me think that we have spent a lot of money. I wouldn't know the exact amount, but it's been an uphill battle with that system down there.
And one time couldn't help. I mean, we had storms and they washed out a bunch of the banks and had to be repaired. There's no question about that. But that was very expensive too. At this point, we ought to have a sewage line made out of silver or gold with all the money that's in there. And any idea, any even close idea of how much this next phase repairs will be?
Initial estimates might be between 3 and 4 million.
How many?
3 and 4 million, and that would replace all the pumps and raise the level of the pump structure itself out of the water danger to the water and flooding. So it would be an improvement for that system. It would just be a replacement of all that facility in there we're having issues with, obviously.
Okay, Alan, how are we paying for it?
Well, if we're successful in the grant, there would be some matching funds, but otherwise it would be a loan. If the state doesn't award us a grant, they could offer a loan, and it would be up to the commissioners to either accept or take that on. But our typical match, I believe, is a 20% match.
Do we have the period, the timetable that it'll take to correct that? When will we be done with it?
Well, there's a lot of steps between accepting a resolution like this and applying for money like that, but if we were successful in our application and they funded us, we would be looking at next year, we'd be getting work started up there at Indian Hills.
Any idea of the amount of the grant? What will we be asking for?
We're going to try to ask for the total amount. Between 3 and 4 million, we're going to get a good estimate best we can, but we'll be seeking 3 or 4 million to replace that facility there. So we'll have a match to bring up to it, and y'all will have to approve that, but that's really what our plan is.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Margaret, just help my memory. Isn't this a project that we've already approved for ARPA funds, and this is a way to offset? Is this the same project?
We discussed it during ARPA, but nothing was approved other than going out and trying to find other funding sources. This is our effort to find a way to fund it without using the ARPA funds or other county dollars. This allows us to go out and seek grant funds, but so far nothing has been approved for this project.
Would we be able to use ARPA funds for the matching part of this?
Yes, sir, as long as it met the continuing ARPA guidelines, and at this time that is the plan, that's a potential for this.
Thank you.
And Alan,
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna, excuse me.
go ahead.
I'm gonna say that we probably spent more than the 24 that you're talking about spending again by this time on that. If you just take $50 million and divide it by 90,000 citizens in Burke County, it's $500,000 a citizen. Folks, that's just unreal. Is that not correct, Martin? Am I not close? 50?
I don't know what your numbers are, but I'm
Well-
happy to confirm the math. I don't know what you're getting 50 million from.
Well, a million for 91, I mean 87.5, I think is the latest, would be, rounded up to $90 million. Half of that is 45 million, and we're about to put another $24 million.
That would be, I'm sorry, sir, it'd be a $3 or $4 million grant. I'm not sure that total amount. 3 million to 4 million in there, not 34 million. Is that what, maybe you're misunderstanding me.
Maybe if I misunderstood you, I apologize, but I read that yesterday, and it doesn't have it on there, does it? But anyway, either way you look at it, we continue to put some serious money, and it never seems to fix it. And that's, I just hate to go to the tax people and then say, we gotta do this again. But if we gotta do it, I guess you gotta do it. I mean, it's,
So for clarity, Alan, it could be up to 4 million. You're going to ask maybe up to 4 million.
That's right.
And then what's at jeopardy from us is a possible 20% match.
That's correct.
And that match, according to Margaret, can come from our ARPA fund. So instead of us having to pony up 4 million out of ARPA, we may have to pony up 800,000,
That's right, right.
possibly.
Yes.
Just rough numbers. I mean, it's kind of a guesstimate. I mean, I'm not going to hold you to these numbers because I know it's a little bit of a moving target, but that pretty much sums it up.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, gentlemen? Then without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. And then we'll move on to funding for sewer repairs for Island Creek. We'll let the good times keep rolling, Alan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, same idea. This is not as large a project for the Island Creek, but it does have a number of different components to it, which would be a pump change out. So the pumps send the sewage wastewater elsewhere. There's a grinder to be replaced as well. There's lines heading in and out of this system, and there would be a forced main replacement pipe. So it's about $1.2 million is our estimate, and it'd be a similar scenario where we would apply for the same funding. It's a clean water revolving fund might get a grant, might be a loan. In either case, we'll bring it back to the commission before any money is spent.
Gentlemen, questions, comments on this? And Alan, I would ask, just for curiosity, I won't hold you to this either, because you don't know exactly, but what is, and maybe Mark would know this, we get both these projects done, say it's $5 million between the two, and we have to spend $1 million out of ARPA. Well, I know as Commissioner Taylor was saying, Commissioner Abley, you know, obviously they got a longer history with this than I do, but what would be the life expectancy guesstimate if we were to go in and do the repairs as you're suggesting?
I would say between 20 and 30 years. Does that sound about right?
I say that'd be correct, yes, sir.
So 20 to 30 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Gentlemen, any other questions, comments?
One quick, 20 to 30 years, Alan, and at that time, what will it take to do it again? You wouldn't have any idea, I know, but the compilation of all the figures on that, and we're looking at spending a great deal of money again, and then in 20, 30 years, you're looking to spend a great deal of money again. And yet, I don't know, we had those figures, Brian, but I forgot, I think is it less than 11% of Burke County citizens utilize that?
Right, it's primarily focused in East Burke. That's actually where we could grow if we had a system in place that could handle additional capacity on the line. That's really our calling card for additional growth and expansion in Burke County. Close to Hickory is where some of that demand is, or would be, if we had the ability to serve them with water and sewer. I believe it might mean something positive to the future of Burke County.
Well, don't feel like I'm picking on you. I just, you know, I know we have a unit down there, and we've got them all over the county, and we have to maintain them, and we have to keep them up.
That's right.
But there comes a point that, you know, a lot of people are just, you know, why are we doing that? And it doesn't benefit all the people like an Interstate 40 road or something. Everybody doesn't use it, and it makes it a different outlook for some people. But I agree we got it, and I agree we got to keep it up. I just don't want you to go away thinking that I'm negative on the whole thing, but it does create a bunch of questions.
Thank you. We'll send them our way. We'll be happy to answer them if we can. If you receive questions, and I know Mark would be happy to answer questions, or I'll try to help as well.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, any other questions, comments? If not, without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. Thank you, Alan. Item number 7, proclamation of Fire Prevention Week. This will be presented by our good friend Mike Willis, our fire marshal. How are you, sir?
Good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. It's been several years since the fire service in the county has come to you asking you to proclaim Fire Prevention Week, but we thought it was a good year to do that this year, since it's the 100th anniversary of NFPA's Fire Prevention Week, and that's always held on the year of October 9th because of the Great Chicago Fire. If you've heard anything about it, that's the cow and the candle tale from years ago. But we just wanted to do that this year in honor of our people. We just so you know, we had one fatality. In 2020, we had 4 fatalities, 4 fire fatalities in Burke County. In 2021, we've had 1 so far this year. So, and a good portion of those, if not all of them, working smoke detectors would have made a difference. And our fire departments work really hard to get smoke detectors in homes, get people to change their batteries and use them. And the Firefighters Association, in conjunction with the National Fire Safety Council, raises money each year to put educational material in the schools and present the programs for our young people. So we just thought it'd be a good gesture if y'all proclaimed that week for us in promotion for that this year.
Absolutely, great idea, Mike. Any questions, comments? All right. Thank you, sir. Without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Next is item number 8. Mike will be presenting this as well. Resolution requesting the Drexel Road Bridge be named in honor of fallen firefighter Jason Keith Hensley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've started this application a couple of years ago, and just because of different reasons, we wanted to make sure we had everything right before we went to DOT. So I've been working with Triple Community Fire Department and helping them obtain this information so we can have our packet ready. And Chief Smith is here from Triple Community if anybody has any questions for him. A couple of things that we had to get filled out was a character certification form. The sheriff done a complete criminal history on Jason and verified that for us. The application also calls for 3 letters of support. I reached out to, I think, 9 different organizations so far. We have got one back from Morgan Public Safety, from UNC Blue Ridge, and from Western Piedmont Community College in support of this. And at 2 minutes till 3, I got one from Representative Blackwell as well. And I'm sending all these to Kay to include them with this. But another part of that application is a resolution that we need from our county board in support of this. And what we're wanting to do is name the Drexel Road Bridge over Interstate 40 in Jason's honor for his service to Burke County.
I think it's a fantastic idea, Mike. Gentlemen, questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, just one, Mike, have you got a tentative date for that event yet?
No, sir, it'll be based on what the what DOT's process is as it moves forward. It's not fast, but Representative Blackwell promised he would do all he could to expedite it.
Okay, but you will notice to us that.
Yes, sir, absolutely. It'll be a ceremony, and all the commissioners will be invited to that.
Thank you.
And there's no cost to the county. Triple Community Fire Department's absorbing that. They took up some donations and collected some money to pay for the signage and whatnot, so there's no cost to the county involved.
If you need anything else from us, please let us know.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And then, gentlemen, without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. Thank you. Move to item number 9, library acceptance of non-recurring state aid non-state entity award agreement presented by Jim Wilson, our library director. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members
How are
of the
you?
board. Thought I'd printed my notes big enough I could see them without assistance, but apparently I did not. So I will require these. The Burke County Public Library has received $81,803 in non-recurring state aid to public libraries. This money was made available by the State Library and the North Carolina Department of Cultural Resources, and these funds were part of an ARPA grant to the state of North Carolina. In order for the library to access and expend these funds, we need the Board of Commissioners to accept the award and to execute the award agreement. And that is what we come before you to ask on your regular meeting on the 20th. We have some ideas for how to expend these funds. They're included in your agenda item. Some new shelving for the Hildebrand Public Library, some additional e-books for all of our library users, and some sidewalk improvements and additions at the Morganton Public Library. And I'd be glad to answer any questions you all may have.
Thank you, Jim. Gentlemen, questions, comments?
Looks like a good use of the funds, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, Jim. Gentlemen, without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. Next is tax collection report for August 2022, presented by Mr. Bridgers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This report is for 2022 from July 1, excuse me, until the end of August of 2022. For property taxes, we've collected $30,839,401.87, which is 67.33% of the budget. For motor vehicles, we collected $1,083,253.16, which is 18.05%. For current year's taxes, we've collected $31,922,655.03, which is 61.63%. For delinquent taxes, we have collected $206,099.84, which is 29.44%. And late list penalty, we've collected $61,553.35, which is 19.54%. For motor vehicles, we have collected $30,000, I got a typo there again. I'll have to get that back to you. But that's 65.5% of the budgeted figure. Any questions?
Gentlemen, questions, comments? All right, without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. John will go ahead with the release refund report, please,
Release
sir.
and refunds, we have released $45,467.50. And for refunds for motor vehicles, we've refunded $268.84. Any questions?
Gentlemen, questions, comments? There being none, without objection, this item will remain on the consent agenda. Thank you, John. This will bring us to section 6, items for decision, appointment or reappointment to the Burke County Board of Adjustment, this week presented by Kay Draw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is a request to make an appointment or reappoint someone to the Burke County Board of Adjustment for a 3-year term ending September 30th, 2025. Seat number 4, representing the West, is occupied by Tony Yunt. He is willing to serve another term, and the Planning Department respectfully requests his reappointment. He's been a good member and has 3 years on the Board of Adjustment. But we also have an application from Mr. Chad Barrow, who is a resident of Morganton. So you have 2 applications to consider.
Gentlemen, questions, comments? Okay, thank you. Without objection, this item will remain on the agenda. That's it for items for decision. This will bring us to item number 7, reports. Please send in reports for the agenda packet. Please have those to Kay by September 12th. I'd remind everybody to spay or neuter your pets, adopt or foster a pet from Animal Services. There's a special call meeting today at 4 p.m. After our meeting. And I'd like to also wish JR a happy birthday. I'm not going to say how old he is, but it's tomorrow, is it not, sir? Tomorrow. So happy early birthday. We do have German chocolate cupcakes. It's a mouthful in the back, so fantastic. And I would remind everyone, please don't litter, pick up the trash if you're able to, and cover your loads during transit, please. That's all in the reports, gentlemen. I'll move on to item number 8. Okay, other discussion items, foreclosure report. I saw Mr. John Bridgers. I'll call him back up. This is concerning the foreclosure report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. At the last meeting, I was asked to get a report from the attorney's firm that is handling the foreclosures for the county, and they submitted this to us. And for the fiscal year 2022, we have collected through the foreclosure $477,537.72. For cumulative total since January of 2019, that is $1,476,350.91 that we've collected in taxes through the foreclosure program. Any questions?
Gentlemen, we requested this information.
John, thank you for the report. Since you're a bit new to Burke County and maybe you've got some knowledge of other areas across the state, I'm just curious, does this collection rate look good to you? Do you have any opinion on that matter?
Personally, I think it looks very good. Other counties that I've worked in, they were not nearly as aggressive in going after delinquent taxes as Burke County has been. And so I think this is a good thing.
It looked good to me. I just wanted your opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. John, did they give you any special report from Pine Mountain Lakes as to where they stand with all the properties there?
I don't have any.
Pine Mountain is the special project with all the numerous properties down there that are delinquent.
Right. Well, they are in, some of those are in this. As I said at the last meeting, that there's still someone actively looking to purchase all those lots and turn it into something nice. And that was the word he used, turn it into something nice. So that's kind of ambiguous language, but they wanted to buy the convention center, the golf course, everything.
I think we've been listening to that same scenario for 22 years, so I'll believe that one when I see it. So I would encourage you to stay in touch with Kanye, and let's push those as much as we can. Please, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I had looked at this earlier today and had noticed some figures in it. It looked better than it does just to glance at it. But I think it's important to take note of number of taxpayers this represented. Well, first of all, total number of parcels was 953, which is 150 or so more than last year. And number of closed was 695. And that's 180 more than last year. Number still active is 258 and against 326 from last year. And the bottom line is that active parcels on hold is 84, and there's only 1 year back through 2019 that's lower than the 84. So, John, somebody did a lot of work to bring those things to closure and take that 983 down to 84. So,
But well, no longer than I've been here, I've done an awful lot of work on this.
well, it shows it's a good report there.
It's a substantial amount of money. If I recall, about $1.5 million is equivalent to about 2 cents on our property tax, is it not?
It's close to it.
I mean, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
And so, that's a substantial number, so.
Yeah, and that helps the citizens as a whole for not having to come up with that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Gentlemen, any other questions, comments? John, thank you. Kay, I think did you want clarity on whether to leave this on the agenda, remove from the agenda, or include the report in the packet? Gentlemen, is there any need to leave this on the agenda, or do you want to just include the report in the agenda packet?
I would say remove it from the agenda. As far as I'm concerned, I did ask for the information, and I'm satisfied.
Okay, so you're satisfied? Gentlemen, everybody good with that? All right, okay, I think we have clarity on that, so we'll remove this from the agenda. And gentlemen, at this time, we are finished with this meeting, so I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Thank you, sir. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. We are adjourned till 4 o'clock.